Good morning, everyone. Welcome. Is the volume okay on this? I just want to do a temperature check. Okay. Well, welcome everybody to the 2024 Oklahoma Learning Innovation Summit. My name is Brad Griffith, and I serve as the Associate Vice Chancellor of Innovation for the Oklahoma State Regents for Higher Education. And in that role, I have the privilege of working with two of our online learning groups, which are the Council for Online Learning Excellence and the Online Consortium of Oklahoma. This conference has actually been in operation, I believe, since around 2015, and it's gone virtual some years. We've been back in person or hybrid for the past few. But with me being employed at the region since 2019, it's been pretty awesome to share this update that we've done every year. We have a sequence that we're going to follow today. Which includes a preliminary announcement of our 2024 Oklahoma Online Excellence Award winners. Many of whom are here with us today and will be recognized. We'll just mention you all briefly at the initial part of the session today, and then I'm going to read a bit more details about the award winners during the lunch period that we have. I'm going to do my data dump report, which if you've been to this conference before, you'll know that we do some online learning trends, kind of tracking what's happened in the past 4 to 5 year period there. And then we are going to offer some initiative updates today, which include Council for Online Learning Excellence updates from our chair, Lisa Friesen, Online Consortium of Oklahoma updates from our chair, Kelly Simeski. I'll provide some Oklahoma Quality Matters updates for those institutions that take part in that consortium. I'll also talk a little bit about the AI Impact Committee, because that's a new group that started outside of these online learning groups, but I think is very relevant to the work that we do together. If you've looked at the conference schedule, you know that there are also many AI sessions featured here today, which is pretty cool and ever changing. But again, lots of really good updates here for you today, and you won't be hearing just from me, so that's good. First person I'd like to recognize for the Accessibility Award this year is Darren Denham from the University of Central Oklahoma. Please join me in giving Darren a quick round of applause. Darren was nominated for this award because of a project called the Digital Accessibility Coalition to replace the UCO, so we'll hear more about that at lunch later. For the Teaching Award this year, I'm very pleased to recognize our colleague, Dr. Cecilia Hazra from Cameron University, who teaches physics there. Is Cecilia already here with us this morning? She may still be arriving, but again, we'll recognize them during lunch today. For the Innovation Award, we're actually recognizing a team, which is the outreach team of the College of Arts and Sciences at Oklahoma State University. We'll talk about a particular program. Yes, so under the leadership of Dr. Caitlin Barnes, this team has been making leaps and bounds with professional non-credit micro-credentials, one of which we'll talk about at lunch here today. For individual leadership, we have a State Regents employee that's recognized this year, which is my colleague, Dr. Melissa Verbetti. Melissa, right there. Melissa works in the teacher education programs for the State Regents, overseeing a program called Oklahoma Teacher Connection. Melissa, you've been a really amazing colleague, particularly lately on micro-credentials for teachers, so thank you for that. For team leadership, I'm particularly excited for this one. We have a tri-institutional collaboration that has won this award for this year between Carl Albert State College, Connors State College, and Eastern Oklahoma State College for educational partnerships. And I would like to point out Kelly Simeski is the representative for that. The final award is actually from a team located here at Rose State College, the Writing Team, which took on an open educational resources project impacting undergraduate students, including general education coursework. Kristen Kirkman, I know you're here today because I saw you just moved here with Kristen. Thank you. So one final round of applause, if you don't mind, for all the award winners. So everybody knows, the Online Excellence Awards have again been in operation since 2016, and the nomination window for the next annual awards will open on November 15th of 2024. We do sometimes add new categories. The Open Ed Impact Award is in its second year this year, so there may even be new things coming for the online awards. All of the winners of these awards have been invited to attend this conference for free, even including team members that may have wanted to join them. We will formally recognize them as well at the May 31st meeting of the State Regents, where we'll have an opportunity to actually hear thanks from our board members and chancellors. So Thank you very much to those of you that support these awards. I also want to recognize that these awards are selected by peers. Our Council for Online Learning Excellence Subcommittee chairs are the ones who actually review these awards, in addition to the Coleman OCO chair. The state reviews have nothing to do with the selection of awardees here. This is completely a peer initiative. As we transition into some online learning trends, I will tell you all, starting out here, that I have glittered this presentation with ChatGPT images that were generated by DALL-E. So I hope you'll humor me as we kind of review those, and if you want to find me and try to guess what my prompts were, I'll happily let you know later on. So we look at these online learning trends over a 4 to 5 year period in general to find out what is really happening with the state of online learning in Oklahoma. How are students making decisions about the courses that they're selecting? What are institutions doing, for example, to support the online learning needs as we start to scale this up? And again, having looked at some of these trends in advance, I'll tell you there are some interesting ones that we're going to discuss here today. And again, I'll be curious to even talk with some of you individually about the dynamics on your campus that have popped up here. This image, by the way, is a representation of all the online learning modalities that exist. So, yeah, fun one right there. So, starting out today, what percentage of degree holders took at least one online course during their course of study? 99% of associate's degree holders that graduated within the last 3 years took at least one online class, and 94% of bachelor's degree holders took at least one online class that graduated in the last 6 years. So I generally translate this slide to say that every student in Oklahoma is an online student. We don't have online versus not online anymore. All of our students are learning in the digital environment. What percentage of total courses offered across our system were completed online? And again, you can see that there's a big outlier right in the middle. No mystery there that COVID-19 was at its peak during that time when we transitioned many courses to virtual or online format. But I think it's interesting that within 2022 and 23, we're still stabilizing at about 35% of courses taken being selected as online offerings. Again, up from 2018 to 19, where it was about 1 in 4. What percentage of students were fully online? So I actually did the trend here by tier. So you'll find regional, research, and 2-year institutions, and the total on the right-hand side there, from 2018 and 19 to 2022, 23. All of the categories pretty much have grown as far as this reporting is concerned, with the exception of the regional institutions, which I found to be particularly curious. This is one of them where I would love to have some discussions with those of you that are working in program administration there to see, does this match up with the trends you're experiencing at your institution? But curiously again, 31.7% of research institution students being fully online. That's an incredible shift from 2018 and 19. That signals a major shift in strategy for the administration of an institution and how faculty need to be prepared to serve students. 2-year institutions, no surprise at all, online learning is really starting to creep up as a preferential method of learning. How have online and face-to-face success rates differed? And I'll tell you, this is one where I always feel a little bit of a pain point as an online learning promoter. But essentially, face-to-face students do still perform a bit better than students completing online courses, which those of us that teach or administer online programs will completely understand that dynamic. But by and large, I think that we're doing pretty well with success rates, considering again that we maintain essentially the high 80s, but if you at your institution are in the 90s, there are strategies you have that you could share with your peers potentially. How is online course incorporation affected by residency status? So you may think, for example, that a student coming to the complete courses in Oklahoma from out of state is going to complete face-to-face instruction. Not always the case. So again, get that bar out of the middle of the screen. So sorry about that. So as far as in-state online course incorporation, 2022 to 23, 81% of in-state students, so those that are paying residential tuition, took at least one online course. Out-of-state students were still 76%. So regardless of how students admitted where they're coming from, they're still very much choosing to incorporate online coursework within their program study. I'm not sure why the international students are missing from 2019 and 20, but it is of note that still they do significantly take online coursework to augment their education. So how has online-only enrollment changed by residency status since 2017? We've pretty much seen increases across all of the categories, with the most substantial increase coming from in-state students and those who we don't know their residency status, which is going to be a pretty small number there. But again, very much of note that we have a lot of in-state students completing the online coursework. So I pulled this data from NC Sarah's data dashboard. If you all have not had a chance to visit NC Sarah's data dashboard, I highly recommend it because it provides a lot of fruitful information about students and coming and going from our state concerning online education. So in 2022, we had students that lived here in Oklahoma, 19,740 of them that were taking courses out of state. So it's institutions located outside of the state of Oklahoma. There's a number as well of incoming students, so those that don't live in Oklahoma that are completing coursework through our institutions of 7,000. So my question really is, what can we do potentially to recapture some of that 19,000 now that is leaving the state of Oklahoma to complete online coursework? There's a market share opportunity there. So how has online-only enrollment changed by status since 2019? So from 2019 and 20 to 2022 and 23, all categories increased across online-only enrollment status, but pay attention in particular to that part-time student status. 45% of students that are part-time are choosing to take online-only classes in 2022 and 23. That is a significant population. What was that?
Do you want me to be here remote?
Oh, that'd be great. Thanks, Kathy.
It's just that arrow, right?
Yes. Gotta have friends. But again, with full-time students, 10%, over 10% of our students are choosing to complete online-only instruction, which is a very substantial amount. This is not the college environment that I went through as an undergraduate student. That's a completely different dynamic. How has online-only enrollment changed by classification of students since 2019? So I actually put the percentages in each column. So 2019 and 20, and 2022 and 23, we calculated the difference. So we've had, for example, an 18% increase in unclassified undergraduate students, again, completing online-only courses. Overall, a 12% increase, and again, 27.7% of students completing coursework fully online since 2019. 2022, 23. One of the numbers, again, in particular, I find compelling is the change in graduate doctorate students. We've had a lot more online doctoral programs even popping up, which I think is fantastic for access at the graduate level. And again, graduate master programs also continuing to grow. Notice that we do have unclassified post-baccalaureate. That one actually did decrease from across that period. Not really sure what the rationale might be there. So how old was the average online student in 2021 and 22? So online-only students are a little bit older than our traditional students or those that choose to take a mixture of course offering modalities. So 28 years of age is the average age of the online student, while the overall average is 24.4 years. Once again, still a little bit older on average than the mixed delivery and traditional students. So now that I've done the brief data dump, I will tell you all, we'll send a copy of the slides out along with a full data report if you all are curious and digging into this, because there's so much more than I had time to disclose to you today. But again, if you have any questions or want to discuss this further, I'm open, so please reach out. But I'm going to turn it over to Lisa Breeze, who's going to give us some updates on Cole.
Tony, I actually didn't register, so I'm on the time clock right now. I get kicked out here in about 10 minutes. Okay, so in Cole, we have some wonderful committees, subcommittees that we work with, and I really think we're a great collaborative unit. So I wanted to go through the slides of the subcommittees and recognize everybody, and I would like the committee chairs to stand up. I'm not going to ask you to say anything, you don't have to do it, answer anything, okay? But you really have worked hard, everybody's worked hard. Committee chairs really take on a lot of tasks and they need to be recognized.
Yes.
Oh, yeah. What's our signal?
You can just go. push the bear.
Okay, in person and virtually, because we have people here and people online. There's my signal. Okay, so accessibility, and one thing to point out is that we have 130 members that are spread out over several committees. So you may want to be on just one committee, but you have the chance to be on several committees. We have 7 subcommittees, so accessibility is led by Pamela Louderback from NSU and Allie Sharp from Langston. Are either one of them here in the room? No? Okay, are they maybe online? Advanced Technologies, these memberships 40 is Simon Ringsted from OSU and Alicia Reinauer for Southeastern's. What's she with this? She's on the way, okay. She's a woman after my own heart. LMS and Tools with 36 members, there's Margot Gregory and Amanda Kissy. Amanda, are you here? Did I do your name again? Hey, where's Margot? I saw her come in. Oh, that's a fun group. Yeah, I was going to tell you that. Open Educational Resources with 52 members, Kyle Motzinger from UCO and Ann Ray from OCC. Oh, man. Okay. So I get right up here?
They're not able to hear the mic. Yeah.
He's going to get closer, they can hear me.
Hmm.
So I'll stand by you. How's
Okay,
that?
that'd be great. Do you want to
Would you
advance your own
keep doing
slides?
it?
Yes,
Yeah,
I'm happy to.
good, thank you.
Please.
Okay. Should I look here? I'll look.
I don't know where the mic is.
So the policy committee is 24 members led by Jennifer Campbell from Tulsa Community College and Amy McCain from MSC with Western State. Okay. What is MSC? Oh, Murray State.
Murray.
Okay. I've never called it MSC. I've always called it Murray State. Professional development, 39 members with Crystal Smith and Dr. Kathy Earl Wilcox, and they are the ones who helped put on this meeting. So thank you. Y'all have to stand. There's Crystal, where's Kathy? Y'all stand. They've worked really hard. And then Student Success has 34 members with Jenny Maple from Southeastern and Michelle Owens from OSU IT. Okay. And coming soon, here's the pitch for our next subcommittee, is communications. Now that we have several working great committees, we're producing a lot of data, a lot of information, and also that puts a lot of work on Tracy and Brad. And so we talked about setting up a communications committee. We already have some people who said they'd be on it and lead it. We have Kathy and Allie. Allie, if you're listening, you're kind of co-chair, so we'll talk about that. But we'd love to have everybody join. So if you're a member of COLE, please stand up. And I would like you to stand up and let everybody recognize you. I think it should be a lot of people in this room. Yay. So how did members join COLE? And you can talk to me, you can email me, you can email back Brad or Tracy. You obtain a nomination from a current COLE member. So like people at your institution can email us and say, hey, we'd like to nominate this person. And then request a letter or email of support from your president or vice president at your institution. And usually that's very easy to do because great collaboration. And it's also a way to reach out and talk to people, ask questions. If Chuck's in here from Rose State, I ask Chuck questions every day.
Yeah.
So my provost loves it.
Yeah. He was here with
He
me.
was. Okay, our project highlights for this year, we have professional development. We did, and this was something new this year that I thought was a really great idea. Instead of just waiting for this conference, we had Spring 2024 virtual OCLA sessions. We had one in January over accessibility, and they were led by different COLE members and also other people. We had digital media and then online proctoring, and then now culminating in this conference. And then we had student success. We did a project on online course fees, and I'll tell you, I looked at some of the states around Oklahoma. It's really surprising to me the differences in the online course fees. And it's very important for us to look out at that and get an idea of that because we're used to Oklahoma, but if you look at other states, there's a different setup.
Are we higher or lower? Do you know?
And then concurrent high school student research. This is timely at our university. I'm sure it's at other people's universities. We have an influx of concurrent students, which we love.
but also we want to look at that and look at the ramifications of them. And then policy, online regulation support. Policy committee has been really at work diving deep into some regulations and also talking about policies that affect us all. All right, next up is Online Consortium of Oklahoma, and it's led by Kelly.
I'm wondering if this is what's picking up the audio for the Zoom people.
Okay.
Yeah, not the mic.
All right, thank you for being here. It's great to see everyone in person and not on Zoom. Just want to start there. I want to recognize all of our OCO members. So if you're an OCO member, will you please stand up for us to be recognized? And I know there's more online. Okay, so here's our institutions. So we have 26 institutions and representatives. I'm not going to read the list for you, but you can take a look. Look for your school. The majority of community colleges and universities in the state are all members. So it's really exciting to get us all together and see what we're all doing and collaborate. One of the things that OCO has been great at is winning awards. So here is Brad and Tracy being recognized at the Witchy Conference and winning the WOW Award, which is the Outstanding Work Award. So that was just through the work and collaboration with OCO that they won this award. So we're really proud of the hard work they do. And it's not on the slides because Brad made the slides for us. But Brad works tirelessly and takes care of us all. He and Tracy and Debbie are such a great support for our state and takes a lot of the pressure out of all of our committees that we have and everything we do. So if y'all would please give Brad and Tracy and Debbie a hand. I'm done. Brad's turn.
Thank you so much, Kelly and Lisa. You all are just a pleasure to work with. I came from working at an institution, and I'll tell you all, if you ever decide to hop over to the Regents or something that's more of a governing capacity, it can be a little depressing to separate from a campus and not see students every day, but getting the opportunity to work with you all and hear what your needs are and help you all, it really does make us still feel that impact. So really appreciate the opportunity. The next update that I'm going to give is about the Oklahoma Quality Matters Consortium. Thank you. So Oklahoma has actually been part of the Quality Matters Network, I believe, since 2011, and we started, I think, with around 10 institutions, and we've grown substantially since then. So I would like to take a moment to recognize our QM coordinators that might be here today, who you will also see listed on the screen. So if you are a QMC, would you mind standing up so we know who you are? I know we've got a couple in here. Thank you so much. Thank you. So institutions have an opportunity to adopt the Quality Matters rubric and professional development structure, essentially through a discounted offering through the state regions. I did want to share a couple of key updates for those of you that are QM member institutions, just in case you may have missed this news, but QM did move to a 7th edition of its rubric last July. So July 2023, they released this, which now accounts more for different online learning modalities. So they actually do specify that hybrid courses have to be reviewed, and you have to actually give a preview to the course reviewers of what the structure of the course looks like. In addition to accounting for more continuing education components of online education. So all 6th edition certifications, so if you were a peer reviewer, a facilitator, or had any other certifications with QM, those have to be renewed for the 7th edition of the rubric. Can be, I think, a pretty painless process, but ultimately there is a fee involved. So if you are interested in renewing your certifications, talk to your QM coordinator and see if there may be funding available for you to do that. Peer reviewer certification in particular requires completion of the 7th edition refresher course, which is now charging a fee. So if you have not reinstated your peer reviewer certification, you will have to take that refresher course to get an updated understanding of the rubric in order to review courses. We do have an awesome array of facilitators who have gone to the trouble of completing this recertification process so that we can continue offering 7th edition workshops to our faculty. So these are people here that really do go above and beyond their job duties and agree to help people from other institutions through the facilitation of these workshops. If you've never taken a QM workshop with us, it's a magical experience in my personal opinion, a challenging experience, but a magical experience, especially if you've had me as a facilitator, I know. But networking with people from other colleges can bring just a different level to your game of designing online courses or teaching students online. So highly encourage you, if you are at a QM institution and you have not completed professional development, take one of our workshops coming up, see what it's about. So thank you again, Kathy and Amy and Alicia, Dana, Joy, Jennifer, Kay, and Tamara for everything that you do for us, again, above and beyond the other 15 hats that each of you wear for your various roles. There are the workshop dates on the right-hand column there. So we have workshops that will operate in July and again at the end of October, beginning of November. So applying the QM rubric is really kind of the heavy hitter course for Quality Matters. You will learn everything about the QM rubric and how to evaluate courses that you either have designed or your peers have designed. The designing your online course is really more for those who are working on a course right now. So if you have a course that your department has said you need to design this, you will come out of that workshop with a guide of how to do that. Improving your online courses is really just that. You have an existing online course that you're interested in taking to that next level, especially with the new QM rubric. There's a really good opportunity to take another look at your course, especially if it's in a hybrid format. So let us know if you have questions. Myself and Tracy are generally the points of contact for that, so find one of us today or your QMC. One of the best parts about us offering workshops and using our own facilitator expertise within the state is that we save a substantial amount of money for colleges. So you can see the cost savings report that I've generated. This is from April 1st of 2023 through today, essentially, of 2024. But we've saved colleges collectively $13,700 through the courses that were completed this year. Yeah, so thank you again to the facilitators for enabling that to happen. Again, just wonderful advantage there. And 134 completions of workshops have taken place over the last year, which is great. The next update that I'm going to offer is on open educational resources. As you heard Lisa mention earlier, we have an OER committee that operates under COLE. The state regents have funded open educational resource initiatives for the second year in a row, and it is included in our budget proposal for the fiscal year 25. So we hope to operate our faculty grants and continue providing professional development. But I wanted to provide you a bit of a snapshot of the impact that we've been able to reach over the past couple of years with the funding, and again, with this collaborative expertise that we have across the state. So our Council for Online Learning Excellence members built a training course that is available online for free to any faculty, staff, or student that wants to take it, called OER 101. It was launched in October of 2021, and I did just run the analytics, and we've issued this credential to over 160 faculty, staff, and students across the state, which is awesome. There is a refresh, thank you, Kathy. There is a refresh underway by our OER committee, so they're taking this to version 2.0, which is going to launch a little bit later this summer. And again, with the funding that we've been able to provide, there are still $50 incentive awards available for those of you working at public colleges and universities. So if you're interested in completing an OER credential and getting a $50 stipend sent to your institution, go ahead and scan that QR code up there and complete that course by May 3rd so that we can get you the paperwork. There is also a companion book available for this called Open Educational Resources, Basics and Beyond. This is built in Pressbooks, which is another platform we have available for use across the state. So if you're interested in a resource to find out what OER is, it's a really good place to start. We do have some professional development highlights as well. So November 3rd, we did host our second annual OER Summit. I'm not sure why it's not showing up. There it is. We are going to host another one tentatively on November 8th of 2024. So go ahead and save the date on your calendar for that. We'll hopefully also be right back here at Rose State College because this is an awesome event space for us. But we did also host yesterday the Association of College and Research Libraries OER and Affordability Roadshow. So we did that as an in-person conference session here yesterday at Rose State College. Thank you again to Kathy and Heather, who were our facilitators for that. But Professional development for OER will continue to be offered, whether it's live events like this or self-paced trainings like the OER 101. Let's talk about grants. So the state regents, through their funding, have been able to incentivize the adoption, remixing, or creation of OER textbooks for faculty over the last 2 years. And I wanted to provide you all with a summary report on the impact of this work. So for fiscal year 23, so the previous fiscal year, we actually issued $71,500 in grants out, funding 63 total projects across 13 institutions. The annual cost savings generated by just that $71,500 is over $2.3 million for students every year, which is incredible. Yeah. 25,200 plus learners impacted just with that series of projects. We have data as well for the current year funding because we did close out those applications on December 1st. So we have a projected award summary of $183,000, so more funds going out to faculty this year, 138 projects still funded across 13 institutions. The annual impact on this, surprisingly, was a little bit less than what we had with the $71,500 that was going out. And I can tell you all, based upon the data and the submissions that we receive for these grants, we're starting to infiltrate a lot of other specialized course sections with open educational resources, which greatly excites me. So it doesn't always have to be these heavy hitter general education courses where we may save $100,000 or $200,000 in a section. We absolutely support the creation of OER and use of OER, even on smaller scales, because that's a great impact. Once again, with 18,000 plus learners impacted with this round of grants here. So thank you very much for your support with this. The other data that is not present on the screen is also with the reports that are required for each of our grantees that receive this funding. We ask them questions about success rates in their course, the perception of students, their own perception of having taught with OER, and across the board, I can tell you that OER is a positive experience both for students and faculty. I would also ask, is there anybody in here that is using OER in their courses right now? If you don't mind, just raise your hand. So a number of people in here that you could have a conversation with about the experience of using OER in a course. I know a couple of grantee or grant winners that we have in here as well that I recognize, so highly encourage you to have those conversations if you're interested. The other thing I'm very excited to share, and there's another Dolly image for you on the Oklahoma OER Hub, we are going to have a statewide OER hub before the end of this fiscal year. We just concluded the request for proposals this week. Yes, it's an awesome thing. So this is going to be an Oklahoma custom hub where faculty, staff, students can find open educational resources that will be indexed even by classes where they're teaching. So our goal at the end of the day is to make it as easy as possible for faculty to find out what's being used in a course that may be taught at another institution, especially because we've done all this amazing work with a statewide course transfer matrix. We have shared learning outcomes. We can absolutely do OER in a collaborative way. So that concludes the State of Online Learning in Oklahoma 2024 general slides there. The only final update I wanted to share, which was not here, is about the AI Impact Committee. This group was started last May to address the impact of artificial intelligence in higher education, which really does span beyond online learning. It completely is an infrastructure, a pedagogical change, and I think even an identity change for many institutions. And we have a committee of, I believe, about 33 individuals that operates outside of Cole. That includes individuals from presidents to vice presidents to students and faculty members, instructional designers, librarians, a really good mixture of individuals. One of the resources I'll tell you all is coming out later this summer is going to be an AI resources directory. So you will actually be able to go to the OCO website where this will be housed and search for resources that fall under a varying kind of structure that was developed by WCET that really focuses around operations, pedagogy, and other components, again, where AI intersects with your institution. So highly encourage you all to visit our website at ocolearnok.org. If we can ever do anything for you, answering questions, even giving you a sense of what's happening with these crazy regulations that are going on, I encourage you to reach out to us at online@osrhe.edu. Thank you all so much today. And the only final thing that I'll mention is that there's a QR code on every one of your tables right there. And what that enables you to do is join the sessions that are happening with a virtual audience. So your phone will not connect to the audio or video component of it, but you'll be able to see the chat, and you can actually watch the slides and take notes on your phone if you're interested. So just wanted to point out that that's what that is, but hope you all have a great conference today, and thank you so much for being here.